Episode 59, Job Interview Absurdity.
Job interviews, the modern-day equivalent of a blind date, where you're not sure if you're going to get a rose or a rejection letter. It's a strange process, isn't it? We dress up in our finest clothes, put on our best smiles, and try to sell ourselves to a stranger like we're a used car. And don't even get me started on the questions they ask. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, hopefully not still sitting in this cramped office with fluorescent lighting and a poster of a cat hanging from a tree that says "hang in there" on the wall. And let's not forget the classic question, what's your greatest weakness? I always want to answer that with something like, my greatest weakness? Definitely my inability to control my telekinetic powers. It's caused quite a few incidents in the past, but I'm working on it. But in all seriousness, job interviews can be absurd. We're forced to boil down our entire lives and experiences into a few sound bites that we hope will impress the person across the desk from us. And if we don't get the job, we're left wondering if it was because we didn't have enough experience, or if it was because we accidentally had a piece of spinach in our teeth. So the next time you find yourself in a job interview, just remember, you're not alone in this absurdity. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be able to apply for jobs through telepathy, and we can skip the whole charade of dressing up and pretending to be normal. Job interviews can be so absurd, can't they? I mean, it's basically like speed dating, except instead of trying to find someone you're attracted to, you're trying to find someone who's willing to pay you money. And let's be honest, that's not always an easy task. The whole process is just so awkward. You walk into a room, shake some stranger's hand, and then try to convince them that you're the best person for a job you probably don't even really want. And if you're lucky enough to get to the second round, you get to do it all over again, but with even more people staring at you. I remember one job interview where I was asked, "What's your biggest weakness?" And I thought to myself, well, if I tell you that, then you definitely won't hire me, so I guess my biggest weakness is being too honest in job interviews. Needless to say, I didn't get that job. But the real absurdity of job interviews comes when you start to think about the things you're asked to do. I mean, have you ever had to do a group interview? That's like being thrown into a shark tank with a bunch of other people who are all trying to eat the same piece of chum. And don't even get me started on those psychometric tests. I'm pretty sure those things were designed by aliens who have no idea how humans actually think. And then there are the questions. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's your greatest accomplishment? If you were a fruit, what kind of fruit would you be? I mean, what kind of fruit would I be? I have no idea. Is there a fruit that's really good at spreadsheets? Because if so, that's the fruit I want to be. In the end, job interviews are just a necessary evil. They're like getting a root canal or going to the DMV. You don't want to do it, but you have to. And if you're lucky, you might even get a job out of it. But if you're not, well, at least you got some practice pretending to be a competent and confident human being for a little while. Job interviews, huh? It's like speed dating, but instead of trying to find your soulmate, you're trying to convince a complete stranger that you're competent enough to perform a specific set of tasks for them. And let's be real, most of the time, those tasks are just copying and pasting stuff into a spreadsheet. But the absurdity doesn't stop there. The whole process is just one big performance. You have to dress up in clothes you never wear and pretend you're not sweating profusely. And then you have to answer questions that have no real right answer, like what's your biggest weakness? Yeah. Let me just go ahead and admit to my potential employer that I have a crippling fear of public speaking. That's sure to win me some points. And then there are the weird interview tactics that some employers like to use. Like the stress test, where they'll ask you a series of rapid-fire questions to see how you handle pressure. Hey, if I wanted to be interrogated, I'd go commit a crime or something. But my personal favorite is when they ask you to sell yourself in 1 minute or less. Like, what am I, a used car? Hey there, potential employer. Have I got a deal for you? I come with a set of valuable skills, a can-do attitude, and a barely noticeable addiction to caffeine. Call now and you'll also receive a free set of steak knives. And let's not forget about the thank you note. After you've spent hours sweating bullets and rehearsing your answers, you get to spend even more time crafting the perfect email to follow up on the interview. And then you get to wait for days, weeks, maybe even months, just to find out that they've decided to go with someone else. So, to sum it all up, job interviews are basically a game of let's see who can pretend the hardest. But hey, at least we can all commiserate together while we're waiting in the lobby, right?
And that wraps up another laughter-filled episode of Not So Funny A. If you enjoyed the jokes generated by our AI algorithms, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our comedy-loving community.